Greetings, loyal subscribers and honoured guests. This will be the first part of my May pickups, but there's quite a lot to go through again this month, so I'm going to split it into three parts. So part one today will be exclusively PS4 games, and then part two next Sunday will be other PlayStation consoles. And then part three, the week after that, will be Xbox and Switch stuff. So without further preamble, let's get stuck into these games. So the first four on the pile all came together as a bundle, which I thought was a good price. And they're all, with the exception of one actually, they're all sort of RPGs. So the first one of these is called Kataria Fables. So let's just switch over to the trailer for that one. Yeah, so Kataria Fables, I heard another YouTuber describe this in their review as the sort of spiritual successor to Fantasy Life on the 3DS, and that's what really sort of caught my attention, because I quite enjoyed Fantasy Life. It wasn't quite as good as it could have been, because the jobs that you do were a bit basic, and it wasn't challenging enough ultimately. But it's a decent level 5 game. So if you haven't tried Fantasy Life on the 3DS, it's worth having a go at. And yeah, this has a very similar sort of art style, and gameplay is fairly similar as well. I haven't got too far into playing this yet, but I know it gets deeper a bit further in. I have unlocked the sort of farming aspect of it, which is very similar to something like Harvest Moon, but as I understand it, there's even more jobs that unlock as you go on, which is closer to what Fantasy Life was like, where you could choose, I think, about 12 lives in that game, and each had its own storyline, which was the cool part about it. But anyway, that's the end of that one, so give me a moment. Next up in the adventure bundle that all came together is another cat-themed RPG, Cat Quest and Cat Quest 2 The Pawsome Pack. So this is two games in one, really. So let's... Yeah, so these are two cutesy action RPGs. I believe the first one only had single player, but the big thing about Cat Quest 2 is it adds co-op for two players, where the second player plays as a canine character. So yeah, these are cool games. If you're into cats like I am, then you'll enjoy all the cat puns and the naming of the different areas, and yeah, it is a fun time. Nothing terribly challenging again. I'd say these Cat Quest games are aimed at the sort of younger age group, really, but still enjoyable for older folk. So yes, they're not terribly expensive to buy digitally, but the cool thing about this pack is it's made up of physical games. So game number 3 from this bundle is called Nexumon Extinction. So as you might have guessed from the title, Nexumon is a Pokemon clone that has been released, and this is the sequel to the first Nexumon game called Extinction, where it expands the range of monsters that you can catch and improves the graphics slightly. I really like the really cool cel shaded high res graphics and the designs of the monsters. I think this looks better than most of the Pokemon games, to be honest. And yeah, the thing that I don't like about the Pokemon games is just how grindy they are, because you can spend hours building up your team of monsters, and if you ever want to swap out for other monsters, then you have to level those up as well. So it's just can be a bit tedious sometimes. That's why although I've tried to get into Pokemon a couple of times over the years, I've never really got very far, and it might be the same with this one. But anyway, so yeah, Nexumon Evolution is probably the game that I was least interested in out of these 4 in this collection, but still it's a decent game that I might spend some more time with one day. I have checked it out for a while, but for now it's on the backlog pile. But and the final part of this adventure bundle was New Super Lucky's Tale, and this is the only one that isn't an RPG. But yeah, New Super Lucky's Tale is a really awesome 3D platformer that feels like a throwback to stuff on the N64 or the PS2 or the GameCube. It handles really well, looks really nice. This is actually the 3rd version of this game, because they did Lucky's Tale on VR. I think it was one of the earlier VR games. And then they did Super Lucky's Tale on the consoles. And then they did New Super Lucky's Tale, which is basically Super Lucky's Tale, but tweaked and with new levels added and expanded. So if you're going to go for one version of these games, then go for this one, because this is the ultimate version of it. And hopefully there'll be a sequel one day, but it's been a while yet, and there's still be no sign of a real sequel. But yeah, that's well worth playing. I recommend that you give that one a try if you like platformers. So moving on to the other 4 games that weren't part of that bundle. The next one is Terminator Resistance, and the cool thing about this one is if you buy the PS4 version, which is nice and cheap now, you get a free upgrade to the enhanced PS5 version. So yeah, just buy the PS4 version second hand, get the upgrade on your PS5, and you're laughing really. So let's take a look at the trailer for that one. Yeah, so when this came out a few years ago, I kind of dismissed it a little bit, because we're not really used to these film licensed games, and especially Terminator branded stuff to being any good. But much to my surprise, this is actually a decent game. It really captures the atmosphere of the films quite well, because it adapts the Brad Fiedel soundtrack from the first game. It's entirely set in the future war sections, so it's not much colour in the graphics really. Everything's really grim and brown and grey, but other than that, it's a really good game. So I'd recommend giving that a look if you're into your Terminator stuff. So next one, the next few were really cheap, which is why I picked them up. Right at the tail end of the game collection's Easter sale, I decided to pick up quite a few things, because they were like £4 or £5 each, so I could get quite a few games for next to nothing really. So this is one of them, and this is called Monkey King Hero is Back, and as I understand it, this is based on a animated film by Sony, and it's based on Journey to the West, which has also inspired stuff like Enslaved and Dragon Ball. There's been many adaptations of Journey to the West, but Odyssey to the West, but this is the latest one. So let's take a look at the trailer for that. Now, I have played a few hours of this Monkey King game, and I have quite enjoyed myself. It's not the greatest game ever made, but it sort of harkens back to sort of B-tier games that you find on the PlayStation 2 really. Yeah, so you can tell it's not quite up to the standards of a AAA modern game, but it's still quite enjoyable. I do like the graphics. Quite a lot of this game sort of design and world reminded me of Kena Bridge of Spirits, really, but yeah, obviously nowhere near as polished as that game. It's got quite a good combat to it. Yeah, you're beating up these ogres and sort of lizard men, and I didn't realise that Pigsy from Enslaved, the Pigman, of course, was present in the original mythology, but of course he was. So you make friends with another Pigman in this as well. Yeah, so I didn't realise just how much Enslaved really took from the old Chinese myth, but I'm learning more about it as I play this version of the story. So yeah, I haven't seen the film. I don't know anything about it. I don't think it was a big hit in cinemas or anything. So, but it might be available on a streaming service. I might look into whether it's entertaining or not. Haven't seen that big creature yet. But yeah, it's for a £5, which I think is how much I paid for it. It's well worth checking out, that's for sure. So just 2 more left. Next one on my cheap Easter sale binge was a game called Cloudpunk. And I spent a whole afternoon playing this one. It was really surprisingly addictive. I'll just flip over to the trailer and then I'll tell you some more. So Cloudpunk is a cyberpunk delivery game where you ferry parcels to people working for the Cloudpunk company of the title in your hover car, and the people and the buildings and everything have got sort of a voxel art style to them, so they're not terribly detailed, but it's quite a good stylistic approach, really. There are on foot sections where you get out of your cloud car and deliver the parcels, and yeah, there's all sorts of side quests and hidden things to find, and it's got that cyberpunk atmosphere with sort of synthy music and neon tinged graphics. So if you do enjoy cyberpunk, and I don't just mean the RPG by CD Projekt Red, I mean the whole genre of cyberpunk, then it might be worth you taking a look at Cloudpunk as well. It's an interesting indie game that's been on my radar for a long time, actually, but now it was only a £5 to pick up physically. I've added it to the collection. So that's that. So let's get back and then talk about our final game for today. So just one more to show you, and it's one that I haven't actually taken out of its seal yet, so I don't know a whole lot about this, but it's called This Is the Police. So I'll just put that there and we'll switch over. Yeah, so here's the trailer for This Is the Police. This has got quite a nice art style to it as well, and as I understand it, it's sort of a adventure game where you do play as a police officer and you perform your various duties. There's also a sequel which is just as cheap, so if I end up liking this enough, I'll probably pick up the sequel as well, but for now I don't really know what I'm going to think of it. It might be a bit too text heavy and slow for me, but we'll see. I think it's fairly well regarded by those who have got into it, so it could be a sort of hidden gem, so to speak. But yeah, that's the last game that I wanted to talk about for now. There'll be a sort of roughly equal number of games on the next 2 parts. So yeah, so today's pickups were a combination of a bundle that I got with 4 games included, and then another 4 really cheap games. So there's a few more cheap pickups from that Easter sale to come in the upcoming parts, but I won't spoil anything for now. But so I'll just sign off, say thank you for watching all the way through if you have, and yeah, stay tuned for part 2 next week and part 3 in 2 weeks time, and yeah, so thank you for watching once again. See you soon, next week for the next pickups, and on Wednesday of the week you'll be watching this, there'll be another episode of Cover Tape Chaos Zapped, the Next Generation, because that's just been dropped in my inbox today, so I'll check out the contents of that cover mount and put that together this weekend, and yeah, that'll be ready for you soon. So thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one. In the meantime, take care.